And we are live. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome back to an impromptu, aggressively average angler podcast. We are sans Paul, but I have two new friends to hang out with tonight, so it's a better show, anyways. But we got Ethan, aka Fish Anything, here, and we got Debo here. What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up?
Howdy. Doing well.
Thanks for hopping in. Good to have you guys. So I literally, you guys, what happened tonight? The short story of it is that Paul's at the ER with his kiddo. Kiddo's okay, and just like bonked her head. It happens. Kids do that when they jump on couches. We all know the "No More Monkeys Jumping on the Bed" song. So little monkey jumped off the bed. She's okay. Everything's good, but Paul's hanging out with the fam tonight. So I called the audible. I hit up my boys on Instagram, and we are here tonight to hang out with you. And we're going to talk about budget fishing. We've kind of like pivoted a little bit this way in the past couple of years. I know we fished out of the Hobie Pro Angler 360 for a while. It's a really expensive kayak, but we're leaning into the budget side now. We've done budget reels. You guys know Debo, Fish Anything. They have done that as well. So they're going to have some really helpful insights and feedback, I believe, as well as maybe some brands to lead you guys towards if you want to save money, get value packs, all that sort of fun stuff. So we're going to have fun tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us, and let's get right into it with a little Q of the D. So I'm going to ask you guys, I'll just like say, hey, Fish Anything, answer this, Debo, answer this. So we'll start with Ethan on this one, and we'll go to Debo, then I'll answer. And chat, as always, I want to hear your answers in chat. So question of the day, cheap, what you think, like bottom of the barrel clearance type stuff, right? Cheap, value. It's not the cheapest thing, but it's high value. Think like gear, boats, baits, all that stuff. Or expensive, like top tier, premier, upper echelon stuff. What do you end up using the most and enjoying the most? Could be any category. You give me gear, tackle, kayaks, whatever. Do you find yourself like constantly going back to the cheap gear and having fun with that because it was so inexpensive, or the value stuff, or you're like, my die was zillion or die? So Fish Anything, Ethan, what you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning value there. I associate cheap with it's going to be like the opening price point. It's not going to perform as well, and it generally won't, lead me to as many fish. I'm not saying that everything that's the cheapest is that way, but mostly, more often than not, I'd say that's the case. Value is what most of the gear that I typically use would be. And I think that's kind of how Mule is positioned, is like, I'm never going to be the most expensive bait out there. Probably never going to be the cheapest on the market, but it's all about just kind of creating like a simple system that's, fair priced. And that's kind of how I am. I feel like I certainly have some expensive stuff more on the higher end, but
right,
I don't always use it. So I'm value guy.
I like it. Good answer. Debo, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I completely agree. I have stuff all over the spectrum, but I feel the most comfortable with the value type stuff. Things that, I've got some cheap stuff that works great, some expensive stuff that I love, like you said, the zillion. But if I weren't fortunate enough to be in this position with YouTube and people supporting me, ain't no way I would have more than 1 zillion. So yeah, I would definitely be on the value end for sure.
100%. And I'm in agreement with you guys. I think the cool thing about value is you look at like mule fishing at around $5 a bag of baits. That bag of baits is going to last me a long time. I get like a high value reel in the $100 to $150 range, or even like the $100 bait casters. There's plenty that my SLX has lived with me for so long, and I'm always happy with it. I just think that you spend a little bit of money on something that lasts a long time, catches a lot of fish, like, of course, you can be happy. The funny thing about cheap and expensive is cheap, you get it, sometimes it just breaks or just doesn't work the way you think it's going to. You're like, well, duh, it was cheap. And you're like, fine with it. And then you just move on. That can be a little frustrating. It's when the expensive stuff doesn't like live up to your expectations because you put it on that pedestal and then you get that really nice reel or boat. My Hobie 360 breaks on me and I'm like, bro, this is $6,000 worth of boat that's not effective. That's a problem. So it's the expensive stuff. I'm like, I like having it, but I'm not seeking it out because I tend to put it on that pedestal. And when it lets me down, man, like ruins my whole day or season like that did. So chat, where are you guys at? I'm sure I'm seeing some budget stuff, budget Mule baits are the deal. We got some mule fans in the crowd. I love it. This is it. This is what I was thinking. Whenever I think cheap, I automatically think Temu. And dude, you guys, first of all, don't ever make a video on Temu, because if you're not happy about it, Temu fans will rip you to shreds in the comments. I get comments every single week still on a video that's over a year old where I was like, I don't like this stuff. And everybody's like, Temu's the best. Everything on there is amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. And I'm like, okay, cool. I guess my experience was invalid.
Hey, I just saw a guy, Patrick Marbury, just left a chat and with the Rebel logo there. First and foremost, what's up, Patrick? Secondly, dude, Rebel. I mean, Rebel is like if I think value, like that brand is it, baby. So thanks for the nice comment there. I appreciate it, Patrick. But Rebel is legitimately like one of the coolest brands on the market.
Oh, absolutely. Guess who's on the list today? Rebel.
OG, baby. It's the OG.
Oh, yeah. Of course they are, man. I love it. All right. So let's get into it, you guys. We're talking about budget fishing. I think we kind of hit the nail on the head right at the Q of the D here. It's that value. That's what we're thinking. When I think budget, I don't think the cheapest necessarily. I definitely am not talking the most expensive. It might be like low to mid-tier pricing, but it's something that's going to give me a huge bang for my buck. It's value. So when we talk budget, really talking about like affordable value. It's quality. And we want to go through like some different categories. And I want to pick your guys' brains on this. And you can share, any products you've used that you've thought was a major value that you think people should pick up for that category. So I think we'll keep it simple. We'll kind of split it up and go line item by line item. But let's just start with like rods and reels. So when we think about rods, fishing rods, what are some high value, good budget options that you guys would recommend for any spinning, ultralight, BFS, baitcast, doesn't matter, like across the board? What are some things that you guys, some things, you see that Southern twang come through? Some things you guys think of?
I got two casting rods that come to mind: Arc Catalyzer and Daiwa Airdex.
Ooh,
both
okay.
$50-ish rods, extremely solid. I think hit far above their price point.
Yeah, $50. I mean, you get a rod for $50. Like you're building a $100-ish combo once you end up with a budget reel, which we get to in a second. But yeah, getting $100 or less combo it's pretty sick. Especially anybody just getting into fishing. If you're not sure you even like fishing, if you're trying to like get a combo for a friend, a spouse, and like you just want them to go with you, you're not buying a zillion. Like you're putting them on a decent $100 combo that can hold up and like they can have a good time, right? So I love that. Great options. Ethan, what you got?
First thing that comes to my mind would be Daiwa in general. I just feel like Daiwa throughout my lifetime has just really stepped their game up. I think for me, I kind of view it as if I want like top dog type stuff, I feel like Shimano reels is what I'm going to go with, but those are going to be the higher price. Whereas if I want something that's going to do a super good job and I don't have to spend as much, it's Daiwa. Like their LT series of reels within the spinning lineup is, you can get a Revros LT. I've had a Revros LT 1000 and like burn down on that drag. And I'll tell you, it has lasted totally fine. The only thing that's happened is the reel, the little click on the back that you can turn off the back reel setting. It snapped. It's a piece of plastic. It snapped, but it like you just move the thing into place and it's fine. Like, and I never use back reel anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that thing's been going strong. And their entire LT series lineup has done extremely well. So that would be the first thing that comes to mind.
I love that. We had Daiwa on our list as well. Just picked up the Tatula $100 casting rod. It's sick. It's super sensitive. It's upper budget. What's that?
The XT, the $99.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yep.
The XT, $99. For $100 rod, like it just punches so much higher above like what that cost is. And there's definitely, like you mentioned, the $50 options, but I'm thinking rods like between $50, $100. That's where I tend to see that value come through. Somebody mentioned Ugly Stick up in the comments. Can't go wrong with an Ugly Stick, and they have a rod for every type of fishing you could want to do, like across the board. So I think those hold up really well. Have you guys ever fished with a Fenwick Eagle? Any Fenwick products?
Not the Eagle. I had the HMG, HMX. I've got one of the new ones. It's like the World Class or whichever one. It's pretty pricey. But not the Eagle.
So the Eagle's $100, and I think Paul got it on sale for $75. So it's a pretty insane value. Hypersensitive, good feel. It's a little, I guess it's like on the bulky side. It's like a little larger of a rod, if you will, versus say the Tatula at the same price point. But it's super sensitive. It's a really nice rod. What about the 13 fishing like Defy? Oh, bye, Ethan.
Later, nerd. He's probably gone to fly his drone.
He said his younger kiddo might be struggling with sleep or whatever. He'd pop in and out, so it's all good. But yeah, so have you used the 13 like Defy rods? Silver or black? Any of those?
No, I had some of the old Fate ones, the ugly green ones that I thought were great rods. Mine held up awesome.
Yeah,
horrible color, but
radioactive pickle.
Yeah, awful. But there's another one, a couple other ones. Actually, budget was the old not 13 fishing, but
yeah,
what was it, number 8? It was like their budget, like more budget friendly line under 13. I had a couple of those really good ones. They don't make them anymore, but
no, okay, yeah. Rar, you want to hop in? Yeah, Chaz, can you potentially provide him with the link somehow? Or should I do that on IG? Here, I'll do that on Rar. I'm going to get you a link on IG. We're going to have a party chat. Let's do it. And while I'm doing that, any other budget rods that you guys would call out as a good option?
How about, I would have a question for Ethan.
Sorry, I got booted. Oh, man. My internet.
Oh, no. Ethan's in the 1990s right now with his internet, unfortunately.
Tell your mom to get off the phone, Ethan. The dial-up allows one.
Doing a podcast. We're live. You can't do this.
I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Like, it'll be totally fine, and it was totally fine before this, and then it just went crazy for a couple minutes. But I think I'm back. I'm not sure what's going on here. If I get booted, I get booted. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I honestly, I'm so tripped up by this whole getting booted out thing. I can't think straight. Let me keep thinking on that a little bit.
All right. Debo, any other budget rods you want to call out?
No, those are my two.
Okay. I like it. I think we mentioned some good ones there. And then let's go to reels. This is where everybody ends up getting tripped up on the budget, right? So they'll maybe be, I can do $50 on a rod. I can do $100 on a rod. I get that reel. Baitcasters especially, I'm in $100 to $150. Are there any 100 or under reels that you guys would call like a good budget value option?
Max X, Abu Garcia Max X, I think is probably top of the $50. It's a hard one to beat. It's the same platform really they use on like the Revo X, which is $120.
Yep.
And basically same components, couple less bearings. It's a head scratcher. So yeah, I think that's a really good buy. Especially if you get on a sale like Tackle Warehouse. I think I got mine for like $35, or look for used, because I just got one of those Arid X's over at American Legacy used. It says excellent condition for $33. So I'm like, yeah, I'm buying a new one of those.
And they hold up forever. Like I had my original Max X for I think 5 or 6 years before I just moved on to using other reels. But it's a great reel. That's how I learned how to bait cast. It's my first one. No freaking way. Paul is
thinking like the Black Max.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The Black Max, but then also the Max X. Yeah. The Black Max is still a killer reel. Paul, hello. How are you?
What's up? I'm great. Everything is chill and cool.
Everything is chill and cool. Very demure. All right. So kiddo fams, everybody's good. We're all good.
Yeah. So I don't know what everybody found out. So my daughter was running on the couch, a big sectional. So it's basically just a jungle gym. And we yelled very loudly not to do that, warning her that she could fall and bump her head. And then she fell and bumped her head. Predicted the future on that one. And then I looked down and there's like blood coming out. And I was like, blood. And then the nose was not bleeding. And, there's like no bloody lips. So I'm like, what? And it was her head. So a lot of blood. heads bleed a lot just in general, but
It's
like
a lot of blood vessels and
it
capillaries.
looked
there.
like she was harpooned, but actually all that happened was she had a probably 2 centimeter scratch and a bump. So no big deal. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. So she's totally fine. So the blood even washed out. But RIP to the legendary strawberry dress that is now.
Oh no!
Red.
The favorite
Red wedding
one.
the dress. So.
Red wedding the dress. No. Dude, kids are wild and resilient, by the way, which is great. I remember I was playing, like, you know, being done playing tag with my kid in a house, right? So my kid runs away from me screaming. It was my older daughter, and she rounds a corner, slides on the wood floor, hits the corner wall. And because, again, like skulls there's a lot of capillaries and stuff up here, blood vessels. Yep. So it just like sprayed the wall, looked like someone got murdered. And she was totally fine. Totally fine. It was wild. Yo, raw fishing. No way you are wearing a Saiyan suit right now.
That's so sick.
Heck yeah, man.
I need one of those in like a medium. Actually,
dude, medium. This is a large. I got it from Temu.
No way.
Yeah. It's like $12 shipped. So,
bro, if I'm getting anything on Temu, it's definitely a Vegeta outfit. Like,
heck yeah,
that's the play.
Here, I got abs and everything. I'm sexy, man.
I feel like they should sell like an actual Saiyan armor on Temu, and like, where's that at? If I'm gonna get anything, it's gonna be that for sure. Well, welcome aboard, man. We're doing a little budget talk right now, so I'll catch you up where the other guys are at.
Well, I was watching the entire thing from the like earlier, so I'm pretty caught up.
All right. Any budget rods you wanted to call out, and we're going into reels.
Okay, doesn't matter if it's from overseas or from Surinoya. Surinoya is a good brand.
Yep.
I made a comment in the description earlier, or in the chat box. Amir, owner of Bait Finesse Empires. If you guys don't know him, he used to be a pro staff at Dobbin Rods, and he is the reason why there's the Sierra Ultra Finesse series. He actually helped them develop that lineup, right? So he gave him some samples, like, here's a Surinoya rod, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. How much it goes for, and how much you're selling for? And he was looking at the Surinoya Dragon rod, and he was like, really? This should be twice the price that you should be charging. But we didn't want to do that at Bait Finesse Empire. What we wanted to do is give something that's not like super budget, but we call it, like, I guess we'll steal it from Casking, affordable innovation, right? Something that's affordable, that has good value for the Bait Finesse community. Because when we first started Bait Finesse Empire, and sorry, I'll keep touching my earbuds because these earbuds sucks, keep falling off. But yeah, we wanted to bring products to the community so that everyone could use Bait Finesse setups, because it was rising, and it was a huge demand, and it's missing. And we don't want to break an arm and a leg and charge twice the price like Gary suggested. So we kept it exactly what it is as of today. So
nice. That was awesome, man. Good call out for sure. And also, just so you know, with Debo on the show, Cast King, watch out. His head will go down. He's not going to listen to you. on the
kind of like
show,
everybody else on the planet, though.
Right. On the budget show, it's going to be hard not to mention him once or twice. But all right, let's get into reels, you guys. So we'll just go around, like, everybody's, just call out like your favorite budget, either like bait caster or spinning reel, or both, if you want to just throw both of them down. And a bunch of people hopped on, so I don't remember, Debo, if you like already called out. We said the Max X.
I said Max X, yeah, for casting spinning. I mean, I've kind of got crap for it, but the Shimano Neck Save is like a 50, or Neck Save or Neck Savi or whatever.
Yep.
Some people are like, oh, just buy the, whatever the hell the expensive one is, Vanford or whatever. I'm like,
just go to Vanford.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, if you're going to get
those are the same.
Yeah, that's the same. Really happy with it. I'm not.
If you were going to buy a Honda Civic, just go get a Lamborghini Diablo GT.
Why wouldn't you just do that?
You're already spending
$12.
What are you doing?
But that's what happens so much. That's what happens so much in this conversation. Is like, well, I'm looking to buy this. Oh, well, I tried that and it was crap compared to a Corrado. It's like, well, my budget's $50. That's
spoiler
not a
alert.
Corrado, So I really like that reel. I haven't had issue with it. Revros is another good one, Ethan. Good call.
Yeah, we were gonna call that out.
So the Revros, I feel like we just picked up. We're doing a budget spinning reel comparison, and the Revros is in the lineup.
Yeah,
but Ethan,
piggybacking off of Debo though. you know, like you mentioned, you can't compare like the apples to oranges kind of thing, but
Mhm.
I trust Debo's opinion on casting reels more than anything because I haven't tested a lot of like lower
Sure.
budget friendly
I've got a
casting
couple.
reels. I've done like I've used them in years
Just a
past,
few.
but I don't know if I've used anything modern. And the reason I haven't used anything modern is because with casting reels, I feel like there's quite a big difference between like a higher price casting reel and a lower price casting reel. Whereas with spinning reels, I feel like you have less of a difference. Like I feel like you can spend
Same.
$50 on a spinning reel and you're going to be closer to the $250 spinning reel than you would be doing the same for casting. Just because
Not
I think the
even close, yeah.
technology is a lot more simple and consistent.
That's completely right, and that's
100%.
something that I learned from reel manufacturing that I would have guessed the opposite way. Is they said it's really easy to make a good spinning reel for a lot less money than it is like a good quote unquote bait caster for less money. And
Yeah,
I kind of would have
Yeah.
thought opposite, I guess maybe, but
spot on, dude. There was
Yeah.
one of my favorite comments that came out of the iCast videos was we had said in the, I think it was the new product showcase video, Paul, where we were like looking at a $200 bait caster. Was like, this is sick. I would totally get this. And then we looked at you know, like Vanford or something else, and we were like, it's cool. Like I'm just not spending that money. And somebody goes, you're gonna spend $200 on a bait caster, but you won't spend $200 on a spinning reel. That's stupid. And we're like, what? Because we
Not
feel
really.
it's the same as what you guys are saying. Like I just don't need it. I don't. If I'm,
I wouldn't
what
even
we
know the
said is-
difference. Frankly,
exactly. If I was living to fish, like tournament fishing and like catching giants, everything dependent on it, then I'm maybe leaning on like Stratix and Vanfords and stuff. But for how I fish, no
Yeah.
way. Not even close.
So
It's
I've been
just not
asked the question 1,000 times, like what reel should I get for my spinning,
Mhm.
My ultralight type stuff usually, and this translates for bass fishing too, because spinning is just the size that you change. But I always say, get a Shimano or a Daiwa in whatever your
Can't go
price range
wrong.
is. The higher you spend, like you're going to get better technology, you're going to get better parts, you're going to have something that's probably going to last longer, it's going to be lighter, and it's going to have a better drag. But you have to ultimately decide you actually want to spend $250. Like, and I have a Vanford or whatever, and it's sick. I love it. I wouldn't have more than one of them. I'm good with one. Like one is enough. Yeah. Anyways, I'm long-winded here. I think we got to go to my man Jimmy down there.
We gotta go.
You
to
got to give
Jimmy.
us a BFS reel. You got to give us the budget BFS.
He's got budget
sure.
BFS.
Sure. I got all these. I mean, I tried every single one, and I'm gonna start off being a little bit biased because I don't know if you guys know. I think the bait finesse community jumped, like the market jumped, because I worked with casting to build the Zephyr bait finesse reel. That I would say is a great budget reel, but do know that bait finesse reels, there isn't no standard. So when someone say, hey, this reel is better than this reel because this casts lower, it's because they have different specs. So
Right.
For the Zephyr bait finesse reel, is a reel that's great for 2 grams and up, so it's geared towards the bass fisherman. So you would use it for a light tackle rod or a medium light. Given that $75, that's a hard price to beat for something that's, it's so many sold, right? Like everyone really love it for that specific fishing. Now, if you want to do ultralight fishing, and if we want to say specifically in the US market, I would say the Arc Gravity bait finesse reel. The moment I picked up that reel at ICAST 2023, I made a bold proclamation that this reel here, if you add a drag clicker, Louis, which is the president of Arc, I will guarantee you at $150, there's no reels that is going to beat that for the next 2 to 3 years, throwing half a gram, like out of the box. And today, like I just came back from ICAST not too long ago, and I said to Louis, because he came to ICAST just to meet me, because we were doing some business discussions, right? And I told him, hey, Louis, guess what? What I said last year holds true today. It's still the #1 in its class. So Arc Gravity bait finesse, if you want the most ultralight out of the box.
Dude, I can't like mirror that enough. It's so true. I love my Arc BFS. I've got several. Paul's got several. I still always grab the Arc combo. Whatever rod that reel is on, I'm like, I'm grabbing that. That's gonna be my BFS rod combo for the day. So I totally agree. I love that. Also, I want to call it like Anna Longfield. I'm realizing my budget isn't everyone's budget. Let us know if like what we're talking about you're saying is above or below it. But yeah, totally, like everybody's budget is different. So there are a lot of great options though in the even lower categories than we're talking about right now. I guess what we're really suggesting is going to, I think Debo called it out. Somebody said, hey, you're getting a $50 reel, just get the Vanford, right? All we're saying is maybe a very short stretch is to a much higher value, from a $20 spinning reel to like a $50 to a $75 spinning reel. For example, you're going to get a big amount of value out of that small jump. Like you save up a couple extra bucks, wait a little bit longer, then you pick that reel. That's kind of what we're talking about today. There certainly are cheaper, way more affordable products in any category that we talk about tonight. We're not saying those are bad. We're just saying this is what we would consider like good budget value, kind of like hits all of those marks for us. So Anna's saying below, right? Cool, totally. So we're talking about like the bait casters. We talked about the Max X or the Black Max, like putting you way down and extremely affordable, goes on sale all the time, right? So look for those ones that go on sale. Don't yell at me, Debo, but Casking goes on sale a lot. You can get the Abus on sale a lot. Like a lot of those lower tier reels, you can find them on sale on Amazon or whatever. So there's plenty.
Oh yeah, the Black Max X4, it's great. I did a casting video of it. Like the way that I portrayed it, I figured out exactly how the braking mechanism worked. I'm able to cast it without thumbing. It's like you see it unraveling. It looks like it's gonna like blow up, but by the end of the cast, it fixes itself. Like that's how refined the braking system is. Because Abu Garcia, even though they don't make the reels anymore, they do everything offshore. The MagTrack braking system is proven. So if they able to get the right spool, the right braking magnets on there, right? It's well balanced. It's gonna perform really well. And as we've been saying, you get these reels very cheap on Amazon all the time. Retail is at what, $60? I got mine for $40, and I sometimes see it at $35. So that's extremely great budget reel if you can find that at that price. And heck, even at $60, it's still great.
Yeah, 100%. Paul, what are some budget reels you want to throw in the mix here, and then I'll go.
For the spinning reel, I mean, we've been seeing it for years. Like the Akuma Cymar is an absolute workhorse, and for $50 or $40, depending on which model you get, I still have the first one that I ever got, and it's still in the lineup. So it's not the lightest, but it's very durable, and the drag is fine. I've never had an issue with it, and I've used it on ultralight for like a really long time, and I've used a 3000 size. And it's like $10 more, like for the
50 to $60 is the general range.
It's I mean, I have a hard time not recommending that. Yeah, we always like say more, say less. Go get one. And I will say, like, as much as again we kind of poo-poo casking, like when I get some of the newer stuff, like everything that I've gotten, I've been like, why is this so good? It's like all great. I just keep running into better things when they, like on their newer releases. So like they have the Megatron bait casting and spinning reel. Those are $55.
Yeah, it's wild. And then if you want to punch a little higher than that, they just dropped the Skeet Reese, which we haven't used yet, but it feels really good in hand. So we're going to test out the Skeet Reese spinning reel. It's $99 and it goes on sale a lot. I like the Samar. We talked about Max X. Fluger President. How does anybody feel about the Fluger President and XT? Because we're like, hell yeah, those reels are sick.
Before I went to Bait Finesse, that's what I was using. So
the Fluger President, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I had a few.
Debo, what's your thoughts on the old?
I remember this story vividly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had a story about it, so I'm not the right person to ask. And it really wasn't necessarily the reels if they could have fixed them.
Sure,
it was customer service. So
yeah,
but the reels are fine.
Interesting.
I like have that story and the casking story are like ingrained into me. Like when we went to film the new President XT baitcasters.
Yeah, we checked out the baitcasters.
I had that story like in my. I was already had like a bad taste in my mouth, and the second I picked it up, I was like, it erased it because it is insanely smooth. It was.
It erased
truly.
it.
I was like, what is this? Because like I had touched a zillion for the first time that day, and I was like, oh my god! And then the Daiwa, the new 100, I was like, Jesus, this is crazy. And then I grabbed that reel like 20 minutes later, and I was like, how is this like? Sort of in the same class of smoothness, like again, just reeling it, picked one up off the shelf, and I was like, wait, what the frick? Like it was way nicer than I thought, and it's at like $100 or $110. So
those are pretty nuts.
I don't know.
Also, that's like you pointed out one of the fun things about iCast is you get to like get your hands on things you're not buying. Like you're just not,
Yeah.
unless that company sends it to us, we're not buying that thing.
Seems like the companies are sending you everything, though, right? Like you'll test. You'll test it all, right?
For me, it's the hard ask. You can't get the hard no if you don't get the hard ask, and you can't get the hard yes if you don't.
We
get
cold
the hard
call
questions. So
we cold DM
pound the pavement.
everybody.
Hey guys, I've got a great opportunity for you today. Just give me 2 minutes of your time, and I guarantee you will not be let down.
It's more than this. It's like, hey, if you want me to break this online, just go ahead and send it to me.
I feel
Probably,
like it's funny that you bring that up though. We had a bunch of conversations at ICAST, and I feel like our value proposition to folks actually sits well with them. We're like, listen, don't pay us, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm listening. Tell me more.
When you come in with, I don't actually want any money, they're like, wait, what?
I want no money. That's how we walk up to a booth.
Say less.
Say less. It's gonna work out. So we got a lot of stuff we're gonna be testing out. My office is loaded right now with just tons of stuff we're gonna unbox this weekend, and then we're gonna go pick up some kayaks, which is gonna be sick too. We can talk about that later. What about, all right, so does anybody have any good experiences with PC Fun? Because we have good and bad.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never even wanted to try
Jimmy's
it, to be honest.
I can talk about my experience.
Okay, well, hang on. All right, I want you to tell that story in a second. Has anybody tried the Alloy M?
I had that one. That's the only one of theirs I've ever used. And it was a solid reel. I ended up giving it away to a buddy. Yep. Yeah. I thought it was fine.
It surprised the heck out of me. I got it for $60. It goes on sale a lot. So I probably paid top end for that.
I think it's like an $80 reel or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 5 or 70, I think is what I got.
What is a price when you discount it every 2 weeks?
Exactly.
It's called a back.
No, it's really a $200 reel, but for you, $60.
It is always on sale.
Once a week, you can get it for $60.
That's Kohl's. This T-shirt was $6,000 yesterday.
Isn't that Amazon?
That's half the companies we've talked about.
I think that's Amazon Day. They just mark it up and then put regular prices on it, right?
Oh, I saw that with Amazon. They were showing the price history on it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's actually been this price forever."
Wait a minute,
spike it the day before, and then they drop it again. Wild. Yeah, gotcha.
What a deal.
Yeah, the Alloy M surprised us because we've had PC Funs in the past and we've not liked them at all. I can remember a few experiences. Specifically, I think Paul had one.
I couldn't get I had the Carbon X spinning reel because I figured that was pretty safe based on the design. And it was really good for about 3 months, 2 months. Yep. And then it gummed up and I couldn't get it to go over. Like I would come here, I would get up to the top. And I would have trouble. Like it would get the handle would get stuck, and not on big fish or anything. And I had it on a medium, like a legit river fishing, like medium. And I cleaned it out twice, and lubed it up, and it still had the same problem. And I couldn't, I fiddled with it quite a bit because I actually really enjoyed it.
Bent main shaft.
Yeah,
I think at a certain point it would stick.
Yes, and so I kind of was like, this is dead. And then I also had, what was the black and green baitcaster that I had?
Was it the Torrent? Do we have the Torrent?
I don't recall. But I had
Next as well. Maybe you got both. I don't remember.
No, I don't know. I had like a sub $100, $100 ish like baitcaster, and I've never hated a reel more in my life. I hated that so much. And I'm a budget dude. Like frankly, like I have a couple of nice reels and honestly, they sit a lot of times. Like I just use $180 to me. You can get a banger, an absolute banger baitcaster. And that's kind of where I live, like sub $200 and 150 up. Like in there, I'm
tattoo
like, yeah, tattoo. Like I have a tattoo. I absolutely love it. And I've got a bunch of those. And I kind of live there. SX. And with spinning reels, I'm in like the $80 to $100 range. And I can always find something that I've been really happy with. So I'm a budget guy. I love a good savings, a good value. That again, it could be the old PC Fun, so to speak, but I don't think they've changed anything. And I did not like either of the ones that I had. Once they crapped out at me.
Fair enough. Jimmy, I want to hear your story on your PC Fun. What happened?
Sure. So I did a review off Amazon. They're one of the pliers, aluminum pliers, and it was so good that they reached out to me and asked me for a copy of my video. I was like, sure, you pay for it, I'll let you have a copy. They said no, and it was the actual, I guess it's the owner, James Yang. Yeah. And I told him no. And guess what? They went around, they ripped it off my YouTube channel and posted everywhere on their YouTube channel. They posted on Amazon as a product review so they could sell more. And so at that time, I think I was at casting. I was getting chummy with them. It was at the point where I could negotiate. Hey, you need to make this BFS real. And they were like, Jimmy, I don't want to work with you if you're going to be working with Pissy Fun. I was like, what are you talking about? I haven't done anything with Pissy Fun since before I got work with you guys. And they dropped like all these links. It's like Jimmy Lee doing this, and that. I was like, dude, look at my YouTube. It's before I was with you guys. They just took my video. It's like, well, go solve it. I was like, oh God. So yeah, so they stole my video. So I boycott them.
You gotta love that. I would too, man.
What's interesting about like your story, Debo, like any of us, it's not always the product, it's like the people behind the product as to why we'll be like, I don't recommend this because company. But
but
like
my videos because they're trash. Nobody wants to steal my videos. They're like, who would want this guy?
I feel the same way, man. Like nobody's stealing ours. Like
nobody's that's not a problem.
It's not true, actually. Boondocks.
Boondocks what? Oh,
landing gear.
Yeah, so I did a couple installs.
We just don't care
on the landing gear, and like I had a warranty issue with my Boondocks, and I kept calling them, and we're trying to figure out. And then finally, the lady was like, "Oh, I know you guys. We use your video for all of our installs." And I was like, "You do? Cool." Like I didn't know that.
Oh, great! So thanks for letting me know.
Because like they used to have this horrible install video where they used this high gauge wire because you have to take a backer plate for their wheels because they drill through the hull like on the gunnels, right? And if you don't have a metal backer plate, it'll crack your hull. And it was happening to a ton of people. So their idea was you slide a heavy gauge wire through there and you wrap it around the metal plate, pull it up into the gunnel, and then you do your mounting bolts. It was horrible. It doesn't work at all. So I just did a string and washer trick, which worked amazing and was way easier. And then they started posting that video a lot. So that was wild. Companies are wild. All right. I think we covered like most of the budget reels. Any other last minute call outs for budget reels? Neat.
I think.
All right.
I was just gonna say. I think like I think the important thing is for a lot of people like this when you're trying to go super budget. That is one of the times where just looking at the price is not a good idea. I think you can make an indication on a quality reel when the price gets higher. You pretty much know like after $250, it's just going to be expensive, but it's going to be really good. You're probably not going to be mad. $100 and up, you're probably going to be okay. There is some horse trading going around, but it's going to be solid. Anything under $100, like on a bait caster, you're going to start to be like, you might get a piece of garbage on accident, and you can be very upset. So
because you
really care. I think you need to be way more careful when you're buying budget than when you're buying high end. That's just my opinion. And then so I think $100 is the baitcaster line where it's like under that you really need to be careful and look at the reviews.
Lots
spinning reels. I think under $60 you really need to start paying a lot of attention. Anything like 60, 70 and up is going to be pretty solid. But I think $50-$60 you need to start being really careful. That's where I kind of draw the line of like, is probably going to be safe at $80 for a spinning reel. It's going to be fine. It may not be the best. It may not be the best for $80, but it's going to be fine.
Well, you nailed it, Paul. There's a direct correlation to price versus quality control, because when you get into the numbers game, there's not as many people that are going to buy expensive reels. It's more of a select target group. So those have to come out at a 0.5% or 1%, whatever the company sets it at, quality control margin versus the lower priced reels. It's all about numbers. It's all about how many of these can we push out and sell, to make that gain back, because the markup on the fishing industry is huge. Like when you look at how much it costs to make a baitcaster or a rod, like it's shocking to see manufacturer value versus, retail price. Sure. So yeah, I mean, usually once you get up to that, I think, and I don't know, maybe if you guys can add to this too, but once you get to that between 100 and 200, it's a lot of very gray lines as to this $120 reel almost feels as good as this $180 reel. What's the, and especially once you get over that, it's definitely, diminishing returns, as this $200 reel is very close to this $400 reel. What's the difference? Can you please explain this? Like Jimmy was saying, the new
side plate is aluminum and you didn't even know.
Right. Right. So
yeah, that's definitely rampant in the industry. There's a couple last minute call outs I wanted to throw in the mix here. We had the SLX $99 baitcaster. I mean, it's pretty solid across
I
the
just
board.
got an LFS for $75.
The LFS, and then the
Excellent
Nasi
deal.
for spinning, the Shimano Nasi for spinning is $100. I have that, love that reel. And then what was DeBurley calling out the Classic Pro? Yeah, DeBurley called out the Classic Pro, of course. Shots fired at Paul. Why you no say this? Any thoughts on the Classic Pro from anybody?
I've never had one.
I've never had it either. Anybody else?
It was fine. Yeah, I thought it was solid. It was
Fine.
the same one as the American Hero. So, I mean, it's a solid little platform, especially,
Yeah.
again, if you find them on sale. I think normally that's a
That's the thing.
$59 reel.
Mhm.
You can find that all day for like, $35, $40. So
That's the
at
killer.
$40, that's a hard one to beat,
If
versus
it's the same as the American Hero, I did have one of those.
It's
And
the-
I
yeah,
liked it a
exact same.
lot better than the SLP that they came out with right after that.
Mm.
And I hated that. And that is still like $90 to $125 for that stupid SLP Pro. And I hated it. Which, again, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing you run into, right? With the under $100 baitcasters or at the $100 price point.
Yep.
It's either going to be good or it's not. So looking at reviews, especially if you can find unbiased reviews as much as humanly possible, that's what's going to tell you the truth about it. So I like it. All right. Let's real quick. I wanted to touch on line because I know I got a couple line nerds in here with me.
Yeah.
So just thoughts on saving money because you get your budget rod, you get your budget reel. Well, you need line in order to actually fish with it. Any thoughts on like quality budget lines that you want to shout out?
No.
Jimmy's like, nah, dog, Varivas all day.
Trilene XL in the red box. I stand by that mono.
Trilene, okay.
I'll go
We had it on our
that one.
list. Cool.
So
Ethan?
That and the Sensolite.
I'm going to talk braid. Can I talk braid?
Oh,
Yeah, you can talk braid. It's fully allowed on this podcast.
So I've tested a lot of braids now, and specifically ultralight. However, I would say it correlates for bass fishing for the most part.
Okay.
There's a couple things like, and I think it's just kind of like I don't know exactly what the technology is behind it, but there's a lot of different braids on the market and they all vary in price. But one thing's pretty consistent is braid. You're going to likely spend a little bit more up front. It's a little bit higher cost than like a mono and usually a little bit more than a fluoro. But I think sometimes they're like, okay, well, I'm going to spend a little bit more on braid to get this on my reel, but I'm a little bit nervous to spend higher than like that first tier of pricing. So like your Power Pro or whatever. But what I've found is that your best value is actually typically on the higher priced braids. And the reason is because they're going to perform significantly better for you, lead to likely less wind knots, less issues on the water, and you're going to get more life out of them. Like for me, I have had so many reels that have braid on them for probably longer than I should admit. Like I probably had a reel that I bet it had braid on it for close to 7-8 years, maybe more. Like I'm not saying that's the norm for me, but I'm saying braid lasts a long time if you take good care of it. And so I'd rather see someone go spend $25-$30 on a spool of braid that's good than spend the $15 than have issues nonstop, because then they're going to get a lot more bang for their buck. So when we talk about budget, we talk about value. It's not necessarily the first price. It's about what's going to provide you the most value for the price you paid.
Yeah.
And so that's where like Phoenix Iron Feather is incredible. And it's actually not that expensive. I think it's like $20 for a spool to fill your spinning reel. Daiwa J braid at Grand X8's good. Spro Finesse braid's good, but it's a little pricier. I think the Phoenix Iron Feather is a better bang for the buck. I know, Jimmy, you can talk about some of the Veravas stuff. I personally, I don't know if I've played around with Veravas enough. My only experience with their braid is that it all of a sudden started breaking on me for no reason. I have no idea why. It was one of their 750 different types. So I don't know which one.
Yeah, they got so many. It gets complicated over there. But I play with the entry level one, and I feel like it's a lot better than many. And the reason why I chose them too is I like the JDM line that tells you diameter. That's something that American line doesn't do. And even the Japanese lines that sold in America when they get rebranded and everything like that, like it's really hard to compare lines by pounds or like rating, because everyone gives marked up information, dumbed down information so that it sounds better. Like you cannot compare a Daiwa 20-pound braid to the Power Pro 20-pound braid because the diameter is actually different. So in Japan, there's actually laws and regulations for measurements. So they have something called go, right? So I basically play with any line that has go because I could be able to say, hey, when I do BFS fishing, I use 0.6 go so that I get to compare. So I play with a lot of lines from even Varivis, Sunline. Sunline is good. I play with some Major Craft stuff, which is really bad.
That's surprising.
Good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think sometimes when you use some of those thinner stuff, especially for finesse fishing, I don't know if it's thinner than what you use for your spinning setup compared like from Varivis to what you're using now. Like, is it thinner? Like, because if you use thin line, there's also a couple of things. Like, the thinner it is, yes, it's going to be a little bit weaker, so you got to be a little bit more careful, right? So I don't know, when you said you use Varivis, is it actually the same diameter to exactly what you're using? So I think
I use this trout line. It's a really, really thin diameter. It's one of the thinnest ones that they have. I had it initially on a regular spinning reel, like a 1000 size, and I hated it. And then I put it on Cast King, Kestrel, SFS. Sorry.
Hey,
and
sounds familiar.
And it was really, really good. Like, I loved it.
Yeah.
And from a performance perspective, like, I definitely noticed a difference, like a big difference in even against J-Braid, which is probably, for me, that's the one that I recommend to people as like the safest bet for everything. I'm like, if you want just good braid that's not expensive, that you can find anywhere in any color in a lot of sizes, go get dyed with J-Braid. You won't be upset. So that's just for me.
Agreed.
That's where I find value, the highest value. But I use almost anything spinning, and I think I use Varivis now. For
I've
anything
become
spinning almost
diehard
exclusively. Yeah.
Well, they
Varivis
make
has
good
been
stuff.
amazing.
I got this one I want to test, Jimmy. I got this from Digitaka.
IG. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a 2.3 pound. It's I can't read all this
Braid?
stuff.
No,
No. This is polyester.
Oh, I was like,
Polyester.
okay.
crap, that's
Polyester.
like a hair.
Polyester.
Polyester. Not gonna
That's
be in-
literal hair.
Yeah, it's not
You
going to
know
be in
what?
the conversation for budget. So I probably want to skip that topic a little bit. But needless to say, I'm going to test a bunch more lines. I just got this thing. Don't even know what that is.
That's
I feel like-
YGK. That's
Sounds
that one
good.
line. It's not
We
bad.
saw it in a
It's not
flash.
bad.
He was like, YGK, bro.
YGK.
That's a
Yeah, that's a new Daiwa X braid. Daiwa basically rebranded their YGK line and brought it to America. That's supposed to be a really good line as well, but I haven't really tested this specific one. So yeah, let me know. But hey, let's take it offline. I'm gonna introduce you to Varivis. I'll get some line to you so that you play a little bit more. You have any issues with, just talk to them. They're very, very nice. I think you really love their products.
I'll make a
actually
video
asked them
for them
what-
and see if they steal it and put it all over the internet. I want to be like you. I want someone to steal my stuff. You know,
Steal my video. That's how
He's
you
got
get
a higher quality.
That's the title of it.
I feel like
Someone
that's my
steal this.
validation I need. A company
System
stole
of
my
Down
stuff.
album.
I was to say,
They think I'm
Steal
cool.
this album.
they think I'm cool. Steal this album, baby. One of the best of all time. Sorry, I'm
One of the best System of Down
Banger,
albums
dude.
of all time. I want to call it, Come On Outdoors was saying, hey, just throw some mono backer on there too if you want to save that braid. So you get that 150 yard, 300 yard spool, and you don't want to use all of it on 2 reels. Mono backer, baby.
What knot are you guys using? Because I'll tell you right now, I've done this a bunch of times, and I'm disappointed at some point to the point where I don't even want to fish anymore when the knot, like the bulk of the knot, gets like bowed
messes
out
with
if I
the-
didn't do
yeah.
enough, or I had to cut some of the braid off, and then it just keeps catching. And even if it only happens once out of every 5 casts, I just want to
You get
quit.
very
So I
mad.
stopped doing that. I used to do it quite a bit, and I stopped.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore just because we're lucky enough to have a lot of line. But if I were limited on line when I was doing it,
I
I
would
was
have
just doing
to.
the
Yeah.
you don't have to. I was just doing the Alberta, my normal connection knot.
You're probably talking about for casting reels specifically, because that'll gunk it up and make it backlash.
No,
Especially on
spinning
shallow
reels.
spools, but
Spinning
yeah.
reels when the
Oh, I've
line
never
is
had
coming
issues
off
on spinning reels doing that.
It's when you cut like 30 or 40 yards off, and then all of a sudden, depending on how much backer you put on, if you did like 100 yards of backer, that's like a third of the spool in mono, and then all of a sudden you're like, it creeps up at some point, and then the knot's there, and then it's catching.
Yep.
Because the bulk of the knot is like almost exposed by the time you've done like a long cast. So it's more just like gripe about what happens at the end when you basically just need to add more braid, right? But I still hate it.
Shallow spool spinning reels. That'll solve your problem right there.
Yeah.
Dude,
SFS. That's a
Yeah,
term that I
love
created
it.
for casting.
and that's what's on there. It's completely full, and that thing is only half of the tiny Varivas trout spool. So,
Sheesh.
dude, I don't know why they don't. I've always, frankly, other than like, I mean, yeah, if you're salmon fishing,
If I'm big
or
game fishing,
pike
I need
fishing
it.
or
But
whatever, yeah,
otherwise,
100%. You need.
I don't need that
But
99.9% of the time.
80% of
no
people are not.
sense.
It's so
Yep.
friggin' weird. I'm like,
We-
why do we even have these spools, man? What's the point?
It does not make any sense. Our industry is totally dominated by the bass fishing industry. And
Mhm.
what percentage of bass fishing applications are you using that much line?
Zero.
Let alone,
0.0.
let alone a size 1000 reel that should really be primarily used for people that are pan fishing. Okay, I'm
So
not
that's
fishing
a-
200 feet of water. I don't need it. Give me a shallow spool all day. And I just don't get it.
100%.
The domestic market absolutely needs to just bring the shallow spool here. It makes no sense. These manufacturers literally have it overseas. They don't have it here. Don't get it.
Yeah, some of them are. We're getting more now. I spooled up
I tried with
5
casting.
spinning reels today, and they were all like the full size
cast reel.
spools. So I was just freaking
Mhm.
rolling today for our budget reel review that we're gonna do. But yeah, I feel you. I would love more shallow spools. Whenever I see one, I'm like, yes, this is gonna spool up really fast. And then
I
can
would
go
like
for
to
it.
know Debo's thoughts online after Jimmy gets to say what he
Yeah,
thinks.
Jimmy
He had
was
his
saying
finger up. He was ready.
So here's the thing. Right now, yen is down. I think if you guys are like diehard spinning folks, why don't you guys do what I did? Try to push shallow spool spinning reels. If you look at Amazon right now, you get Daiwa reels. There's a Gekibijin X or something MX spinning reel for $104.
Hmm.
That thing is supposed to be like $200. So Ethan, I'll send you a few links of the latest and greatest Daiwa reel. But
Oh, what are you talking about, dude? I got that.
I know that logo anywhere.
That's
Right.
bonkers.
Gekibijin, there you go. So yeah, that's exactly what we need. We need more influencers like you guys who have a passion for these finesse stuff and just push it. Like if you want, I'll grab it too because I have been pushing shallow spool bait finesse reel, but I also have pushed spinning, but I don't use spinning as much. I was able to get casting to do that Zephyr SFS along with the BFS, and now what they have the Castro SFS now.
Yeah, they do.
So
Yep.
it's a good thing that they keep doing it. So that's great, and I'm happy. But we still need more people pushing that stuff. So good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely we're gonna use a lot of those.
I've been talking
Whatever
about this for like 3 years, 2 years probably, 2 or 3 years. Like I have 3 or 4,000 yard spools of mono that I use for backer, which just
Mhm.
seems so like, why did I have to come up with this method
Why do I have to do
for,
this every
Right.
time?
for something that shouldn't be a problem?
Yep.
Like what?
No, it's 100%. I'm on board with that. Anytime I see a high line capacity reel, I'm like, this is not what I want. Like I want
It doesn't make sense.
shallower spool.
Anna Longfield's like, I salmon fish in the winter. I totally get it.
And that's when you need it.
And she's like, I don't even need 200.
Oh, she
yards.
still doesn't need it.
True though. Like it's just true. I mean, with salmon fishing, even if you're using mono,
Mhm.
you have absolutely no reason for that. Your longest drift is going to be 40, 50 yards. You can't catch a salmon that fast, that far out anyways on a drift. Your longest drift for a salmon should be 20 yards, 30 yards.
Yeah.
After that, you're going to miss it anyways. So what's the point?
Yeah, no. As I was spooling those up, I think the Revros was like the shallowest spool that I had for the spinning reels that I spooled up, and I was like, thank goodness. And then the handing, we have a handing in there too, was the deepest spool, and I was like, my God, I was just going.
They
I
just
didn't want to
the
have.
stat.
Yeah, I wanted it to cast appropriately, so I was like, I'm going to the line capacity I should be at. But man, that was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
My gosh. All right, so I think we hit line pretty good. We covered a bunch of different brands.
No one
there.
else is going that deep on it. But Debo, did you have one that
Yeah.
you wanted to call out? You're probably on the bait casting side, use more line than any of us.
Trilene XL, man. I think for a budget mono, it's probably one of the hardest to beat.
First thing I put on my list. I agree.
Trilene there. We did put Power Pro on there, and I'll say like the main reason is it's easy. It's one of the easiest to find, and it's decent. It's affordable. It's
way
held
too
up on
stiff.
most of my reels. It is stiffer though. Like when we were talking about line quality and like spending up a little bit more to be super happy, that's what I've realized over time, and I'm kind of out on it. I've also used a lot of Bye, Jimmy. I've also used a lot of super budget lines. So like Strike King's Contra line, I use that. It's fine. Wasn't a huge fan of it. I've used I've used Cast King. Thought that was okay. Like Superline, is it? I think it is. I've used PC Fun. Didn't like that one. Spiderwire, did not like that at all. It's super ropey.
Suffix
I thought was okay. Definitely wasn't my favorite thing. We used their like
Did you use the
Gore-Tex.
832?
Yeah.
We used the 832
is a
and
really good braid. Heavier. I don't know about the light stuff if that's what you use, but for
I
heavy,
think I had it on
really
a spinning reel. I had the 10.
Yeah.
Keyline, tactical is the only one, man.
What is it? What is it that the braid? Is it something to do with the amount of strands they have that makes it rougher versus smoother? Like, okay, so it's like an 832 and a standard Power Pro. Are those both 4-strand? I assume.
No, 832 is an 8.
Yeah,
regular Power Pro.
Why is it so rough? It is so much rougher than like a J braid.
I don't know the answer to that question for sure, but this is gonna sound weird, but I used to buy Christmas lights.
Suffix.
I know that doesn't seem related.
Yeah.
But the way that they manufacture those overseas, they're done a lot like what you would actually think. They just have a machine that provides tension on like a long area, and then they literally just have like a drill on one side that someone.
See, I thought it was people all hand doing it.
Yeah, well, it's not that far off. And then sometimes the tension is people, but like at the higher end factories, like there's like a 10-foot area. And then that's how they strand those. The way you get like tightness, the way you get quality is how they actually treat the line before it comes in, and then their material selection. So like the raw material selection determines like 80% of that. And then if they have like automation, and then the shorter duration you have between the thing that you're twisting and where the tension is, that actually leads to like that measurement. There's like a kind of a magic spacing that leads to like the best possible twist without being like over tensioned or again under tension where it's just like coming apart. So if they're not good at that, or they don't care about that, or they're just into speed, or they just don't have the same kind of quality control on what's incoming, or they haven't made good product selections on what's incoming, that is what, at least again, this is like I know it's similar, not the same, but that actually is one of the things that can screw you, or some of the things that can make it different. You would think they'd all be the same. You think they'd all be the same. You're like, it's an 8-strand and you wove it. What are we talking about?
Line.
My man Debo, we need to figure out a good abrasion test on some of this stuff. Like I think it's a Salt Strong or something, some saltwater channel.
There's no way to do a scientific like actual, because like first you've got knots. So then if you're not tying knots, you're wrapping it on something, and then you're looking at pressure. So if there's any sort of manual intervention in it, it's already a flawed test, right?
It's not natural either.
Yeah.
I just have a hard
thought about it
understanding.
I don't know. Generally, a 4-strand is going to be stronger than an 8-strand because all the different little pieces that are braided together. You've got 4 big ones. So like think of 4 of my arms. So you'd have to break one of these, to make it light. Well, pencil those down. Instead of my arm size, you put 8 little ones like this. And as soon as you cut one, now that's compromised, right? It's like a rope. Once you cut one of those little strands, the whole thing is compromised,
it frays.
It's not evenly divided either. It's rated when they're all together. So just because you have, one strand off doesn't mean now your 8-pound is 7-pound. Doesn't work that way.
No. It like frays. I just find it, I feel like I would love to be able to come up with a way to test it. But yeah, like I said, there's a saltwater, I think it's Salt Strong or something like that. And he has a sandpaper on a thing, and he has it going, and then he puts the lines, and he has a weight on the line.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like, well, what he's doing is primarily, heavier pound test, but I'd be curious to play around with some of this with lighter stuff because, some of these are so much smoother, and it's likely higher strand, low diameter, better technology, whatever. But then the question I have is like, why would you ever have 832? Like it's what is the actual value? It's so much rougher. Again, it's fine for a lot of applications, and a lot of people love it. So I'm not dogging on it, but it's just so much rougher than some of the other players. Same thing goes for like Power Pro and some of the others.
And you're coming from an ultralight, more finesse,
lighter
right?
line. Yeah. Anywhere. Yeah. It's usually 5-6 pound test. So again, same would apply for finesse applications for bass though, right? 10 pound test, 15.
Yeah, I'm just thinking on the higher side because I mean I only use really a couple for spinning,
Sure.
but on the higher side I've tested a bunch of different, frog and stuff, and then really then I don't really care about smoothness.
Yeah.
It's castability and strength.
Right.
Like I still have a bad taste in my mouth. I used the Power Pro Max Quattro, which is like their super high price, really thin, super smooth, all this great stuff. I got the 50 pound and I broke off like 4 really good fish. Could have been this spool, but for 50 pound, I was like, this is
Nope.
junk.
No, it shouldn't break at all. Yeah.
So yeah, like the 832. I mean, there's a reason musky guys use 80 pound of that versus other dudes using 100 pound. All this other crazy stuff. Like it's super tough. Might not be the the smoothest, but a tough.
See,
and
that
tough
makes
one.
sense. That's why
But
it's
I've never
important
used
to
the
talk-
small
that's
version
wh-
of it.
No, that's why it's important that you're on here too, so you can talk more from the casting side because I could see that what difference does it make when you're casting a 5/8 ounce frog? Like your line diameter, you're going to be able to wing that thing no matter what.
Right.
Like so,
Miles.
interesting.
Yeah, but
okay, sorry.
The big thing for me, especially like anything bottom like jig fishing, drop shot, even stuff that's like lighter applications, so weightless and stuff like that. Dude, I have that's why I don't use Power Pro anymore because the action is so dampened by the line that I find that I'm going down just to maintain like hover strolling. If you just throw or like spy baiting, if you don't get your line right and you don't have like the right setup, they are not
doing what you
it's
think.
It's not doing what it should, what you need it to be doing at all. And fishing ultralight totally changed the way that I approach braid because I'm looking for something. Castability is important, and that's part of it. I'm way more worried about what's going on with the bait and and granted, we're Clearwater, we're way up north, but like I find like almost immediately when I get Power Pro, spider wire, or you just that Berkeley fire line's god awful. It's so stiff. I find that like when I cast with that, or even like just regular
I've heard you
line
talk about
compared
it.
to like the tactical, like there's a huge difference in what the bait is doing versus what I expect it to do because I'm using higher end line, like or even just lighter line than maybe what would be like considered normal. So that's just my opinion, but that's something I care about like way more than I used to.
You don't really notice it until like when we're in Clearwater shallow situations and we're like, oh, this bait isn't doing what I want it to do.
I'm watching it.
Or when you have forward facing sonar and then you can see it, that like ended up, we're like, hey, we got to make some changes because
you don't even need hooks then if you're using that.
No, you're right. I don't even. I just just put my finger in and just pull out the 10.
I'm just watching the pot.
Watch my hand on.
I'd have live scope if I could, but I'd probably
get
dump
bored of all these 7-pounders. Thank God for this forward fishing.
So fishing's so boring. Oh my gosh! Wow. All right, I think that's enough online.
Yeah,
Let's
we
move
beat
to
it
tackle. We beat it to death. Let's do some tackle stuff. So, budget baits. Now I know one of us is going to be biased about this, and the rest of us will also be biased too because I love mule fishing. But
I was like,
what do you think I'm talking about? All right,
I won't answer with
answer.
mule fishing. I won't do mule.
We'll say mule fishing's a given.
It's in my list. I'm looking at it. It's been there for over 24 hours.
I want to hear what everybody. We made this list last night. I want to hear everybody else's. So I'm saying mule fishing is a given. I want to hear a different answer out of Ethan. But let's go with Debo first on this. What are your go-to budget tackle options?
I'm thinking, are we talking brands or like specific lures?
We started brands, but if there's
I would
like
go with just like in general brands. But if
Yeah.
if you got a banger that you're like, look, this one
Throw it out there.
or this thing or this like because sometimes you get like, for example, you can get like a 10-pack of something for I think Z-Man. I'll give you an example. Z-Man. I'm very specific. You can go all the way down to like their Ned rigs, right?
With their budget.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. $5.
Oh, Z-Man. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I was thinking you just said the Cinco. I'm like, dude, there's no
Oh
way.
God,
That's
no.
Yamamoto?
No, but like a
No,
Z-Man, right?
no,
You get
no.
like in
Definitely
the
not.
for their Ned rig baits, you're getting like a 6 or
Yamamoto,
a 10 pack, maybe. Yeah, not Yamamoto,
Mhm.
but you're getting like a 6, 8, maybe a 10 pack for $5, and that will last you like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So to me, that's super high. That's for sure.
That it hits the value mark for sure. Anna called out Mule and Z-Man. Like I constantly have bags of both of these in my tackle arsenal because
Can't run out.
they can do different things. I use them for different purposes, but I know they're going to hold up, and I end up using those packs for like the whole season. So we'll put those out there. But Debo, what are some for you?
I would say Yum comes to mind as probably one of the biggest, like,
My first
Yep.
one, baby.
you know, maybe you don't like there's certain plastics of
Dinger.
theirs I really don't like. You know, there's ones I
Dinger.
do like. Yeah, dinger. I mean, who doesn't have a dinger? A dinger on a
Dinger.
weighted
Who
weighted
doesn't like a
wacky?
dinger?
Tell them about the 100
Who
pack.
Hopefully,
We only
Yeah,
invite
whatever.
people with dingers to this.
this is the wrong channel to ask.
50 to 55% of the population does not have dingers.
You gotta have a dinger to get on
Anyway.
this show.
I would say
You
that
don't,
now back
to
in
be
the
clear.
day, I would always look at like Bomber, Norman, because they would have the end caps. And
Norman.
like whenever I got to go fishing with
Yes.
Dad, it was granted I always got to pick out a lure. Like wasn't
Mhm,
asked. I didn't
mhm.
have to ask for toys or anything. He'd always be like, "Let's go to the fishing section," and I knew he's like, "What
Those
do you
are
get?"
toys.
Yeah,
with
dude,
purpose.
for sure, those were toys for
Yep.
me when I was little.
Yep.
So those, gosh, I don't know. That's some of the stuff. Zoom, I would say Zoom is way up there too. Bang for the
Yeah,
buck of stuff that
100%.
you get. Maybe not the cheapest, but you usually get
Not
The
anymore.
trick worm.
quite a few in
Yeah.
a
Trick
pack.
worm
Yeah,
is still a value.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Those
there-
are some that come to mind. That's a hard question.
There's always a million colors of the Zoom options too. It's like a whole aisle. I remember when Dick's Sporting Goods actually had fishing lures and was good. You could go, they'd have a whole Zoom section. I'd be like,
Worse than
yes.
Bass Pro.
As
Well,
far
now
as a
they're trash.
specific lure, I'll give this and then I'll hand it over.
Okay.
Cotton Cordell Super Spot Lipless. Used to be able to get those $1.99 at Walmart.
Yes.
If you like burning a lipless, one of the
Dude.
best around for shallow burning.
You're gonna have a good day. Buy one or two of those. Get two colors, you're gonna be happy. I love it. All right, Ethan.
Jimmy
what do
and
you-
well, I was gonna say Jimmy because
Jimmy? Let's go Jimmy.
hasn't gotten a chance to go. But Jimmy, this is I don't know. Jimmy, do you use budget?
Do
Any
you
kind of
budget,
baits?
Jimmy?
I know
This is
you're.
a Timo,
Well,
Timo.
so
Take me
I
out. Yeah.
before getting into social media fishing, I use a lot of budget stuff, and specifically, I would just go on eBay. I'll get bulk bag of jig heads that's poured, and I also get bulk bags of soft plastic made, and you get it very cheap. I'll get like a bag this big. I don't know how much in there, like maybe 50 grub tails for like maybe $20, like a huge bag.
Right.
Also jig heads, 16th ounce. I'm a finesse guy, and I'll fish it for 2-3 years. So that was my style of fishing. The only reason why I exploring all these expensive stuff and new stuff is because, we're social media anglers, right? We're fishing for likes today, right? We try to grow.
ADM, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I explore these new stuff.
Fishing
But
for fishing, for
fishing
subs.
with these expensive stuff also opened up my eyes. Okay, like who would have thought an old technique such as hover strolling is so great in the U.S. Right? Like hover strolling's actually been out for so long. It's just a slow rolling technique, but you can't do it with the cheap stuff. Like everyone in the U.S. right now try to get into the strolling game using like wrong tackle, wrong everything, and they're not doing it right. And then I went and I showed you guys how to hover stroll Japanese style using the right line, right tackle, and it doesn't look crazy. Like it's just something that you have never seen in your life. But guess what? It's been out for over 10 years.
The flash day,
right? So
You're not using flash
sometimes
day or voltage, get out of town.
Mhm.
That's what I said.
So yeah, the budget stuff. I think they still have a lot on, let's say, eBay. You go to like mom and pop guys who still pour their own stuff. You guys get in budget.
People. Great point.
Yeah. So that's why I was doing a lot of eBay stuff until I was like, hey, you know what? It's time to grow. Let's explore new stuff. But eBay, tons of good stuff. Still have
I love it. You also gave Paul a T-shirt idea. Fishing for likes. Fishing for likes. Subscribers, shares, and comments.
I'm gonna take a hook and have it like it's baited with like a thumbs up from
With a thumbs up from Facebook.
and it'll be a YouTube logo fishing for it.
Nice.
Dude, what?
I'm
That's
here for it.
hilarious.
Nice.
All right.
I will say somebody just said it. I don't know who it was. Anna Longfield. Strike King. Strike King is a shockingly good value on the soft plastic side, but really the hard bait side, like their jerk baits are like $5
Okay.
cheaper than everybody else's.
$10
Their
bucks.
crankbaits, like they're $5-6 cheaper than most people's that are
KBD
equivalent.
square bills.
There are some like the Chick
Yep.
Magnet or whatever. Like there are some exceptions,
Mhm.
but on the whole, like
Spinner
every
baits
time
were
you go through,
cheaper.
you're like, dude, why is this the spinning? Their spinner baits are like free.
I kind of feel like they're what sets the bar. Like things there are lower than the Straight King,
That's what
but
I
they're
was. That's what I was.
significantly
Their
higher.
threshold.
I kind of feel like they're where
Yeah.
like they're that middle tier, but they're very. I agree though, they are still a value for how much they price them at. I think they make really high quality stuff generally, and they don't go overboard on price. So yeah, I think that's a great call out.
Jigs are great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, any almost anything in their lineup. But yeah, Ethan, what do you got?
Well, yeah, you guys can't. I'm not going to do mule because that's
It
not what
counts.
this
It's
is
on our
about.
list.
I am going to choose some brands that I guess I would admire and maybe even find some inspiration from, just in the sense in how they do go out and price their stuff. I think Rebel, as we spoke about earlier, is one of the best. I think that they are kind of what fishing should be about in my eyes. Like I feel like we've gotten so far out of whack as a fishing community. Maybe it's because of Jimmy's fishing for likes.
It's
comment,
all Jimmy's fault.
You're
No,
blaming
but it's
Vegeta? Come on.
no,
what did I
I'm
do?
saying that we're
Final
going the
question.
wrong direction in a lot of ways. So I like the Rebel vibes. Bobby Garland is another.
Bobby
Bobby
Gar.
Garland. Now again, I'm bringing a different view. You guys are primarily talking bass. I'm bringing a little bit more just multi-species, but I think Bobby Garland
great
is a
bass
value
lure.
for the price.
Multi-species.
Yeah, multi-species. Just and then I love I was gonna say the Yum Dinger, and Debo beat me to it. So the Dinger, I mean, dude, like that is the best price.
Oh, yeah.
Essential.
I just want to keep saying the word. It is one of the funnest words to say within the fishing
When you
community.
can afford a Senko, go with a Dinger. Can't go wrong.
Paul,
Dude, a Senko will rip apart on one fish.
Quit
It's
playing
so
with your
annoying.
dinger.
The thing about
it's a wacky rig.
The thing I
It's a
will say
wacky
about
rig dinger.
the Senko is every company has tried to match it. You know how many people have tried to match that and can't get that exact like formula fall rate? So it's like it's again comparing apples to oranges, right? If you are looking for a bait that does a certain thing, it's okay to pay more for that, right? If you're looking, for a braid that does this certain thing, it's okay to pay for that, So
it's figuring out
apples
when
to
you want
oranges,
to. Yeah, it's figuring out when you want to spend up, when it's worth spending up a couple extra bucks. And again, we're not talking about going to the zillion or something way up there. We're talking about a couple extra bucks here and there, right?
Couple things I want to call it is Jeff and I just discovered, we didn't know this until we went out and bought some, but the Yum, they have like these bulk packs, but they have 100 pack of
the Mighty Bag.
It's called the Mighty Bag. That's 100 pack of Senkos, or the ones with the paddle tail on them. You get 4 different colors, and there's 4 bags inside like a heavy duty bag. So you get like 4 colors of dangers, and they have and dude, I think they're such a value. Like and then the color selection is like very much on point. So they have like a dark water bag. They have like the green pumpkin favorites. They have clear water ones. They have a bunch of different selections. Honestly, I love the way the packaging on like the whole Pradco website in general. Because they're the ones who like Booyah does like the pond magic, like you get the 3 spinner baits for like nothing, and all that whole thing. And Digworks is calling out the 100 pack bulk pack, which they are that, and they are a value. Someone called out though, and we had this on here. In my mind it was like the Pack-a-Craw, but Netbait, Netbait does a great job, and they are really inexpensive. Jeff had Scum Frogs on here. That's the best value frog that I know of.
Dude, when you can get them on sale, it's a 4. Yeah, well, the Booyah,
the 3-pack for $13.
Brand.
It's really hard to beat the Pad Crasher. We just saw that too, and I will absolutely give you.
Love the Pad Crasher.
Yeah, Pad Crasher's great. Booyah makes a lot of good budget, high value baits too. Love them for that. Spinner baits as well. It's funny, a lot of these that we're mentioning they're on LureNet, dude. like half of these are on LureNet, dude.
I know.
All right, swim bait on a prairie. I wanted to call this out. Tournament, I'd use Yamamoto, and this is what Debo was just talking about. It's like it's kind of apples and oranges. It's not going to mirror the fall rate and the action exactly the same because, as you were saying, like matching the formula that they're using with their with Yamamoto Senko versus Dinger, it's gonna be different. But if I'm just Texas rigging, like
if you're fishing 5 foot less, or Texas rigging, great point.
Yeah, but if I'm in a tournament, like if money's on the line, I'm with you, dude. Like I'm gonna use whatever best stuff I got. If I'm just hanging out, or if I'm doing stupid content like we do, like I'm using specifically us
making videos no one's gonna steal,
making dumb videos people don't steal. I'm like, Jimmy, I'm not cool enough. I'm using dingers all friggin' day because they're cheaper, and the Mighty Bag is insane. The Mighty Bag.
JRod95 says, what about Bass Pro brand? Tell you right now, I've had some very good experiences and I've had some very bad ones.
It's one or the other. It's never like consistent.
So I don't buy them.
And that's
Sticko's
why.
Great. A lot of their old hard baits, horrible.
Yeah,
I've had all the hard baits are trash. Every single one is garbage.
You get a 5-pack of crankbaits, and
those jerk baits do not jerk. I will.
The original
those jerk baits don't jerk.
Should have grabbed a dinger.
Why aren't you using your dinger, dude? I don't get it. I'm with you. BPS it's hit and miss, and if it's hit and miss all the time, I'm not investing in that. I can't get behind it. We mentioned Yum, Zoom, Rebel, missile baits. I want to throw out. I think missile baits has actually like a decent value prop as well. I got the new what is it called?
Micro D-bomb.
Micro D-bomb. I got them for $4.50 a bag, 8 packs, or like 8 or a 10-pack. They were on sale on Omnia. Like that's insane. I'm gonna go BFS flipping those things. BFS Texas rig.
Pretty sweet.
Really,
I caught a bunch on free rigging it.
Yeah, same thing. Great option, right? And it's a great bait for it. So not all their baits, I won't say. I don't like all their baits, but there are a lot of baits that they have that you can get fairly inexpensively, and they'll hold up decent. So that's a good one.
Mentioning Cream, so Ramon and
super affordable.
Ramon's other alter ego, but I don't know that I've.
They still make them, absolutely. Yeah, Shields has them. I think they're. Let me see if I find a pack, because I think their slogan is just like everything else, but less expensive or something like that. Like they're very blatant. Like, we're gonna put this right in your face. I'll see if I have a bag.
So the first paddle tail I ever got was Cream. I was like,
really?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know how to fish. And
all right, and Kamon is upset because we haven't called out Big Bite Baits. Now, Big Bite Baits does a good job. They do a good job, and they give you a lot in a pack. They do. They like the pack counts are really high, and they do have bulk packs. They're kind of one of the ones that did the bulk packs, I think, right first.
There's so many colors.
I'm not gonna lie.
So many options.
I liked that little thing that we put on the back of that little micro bladed jig.
Yeah, the baby kamikaze swim on.
Yeah, swim on. That thing's cool.
The swim on is it's the best trailer.
The mini one
still
fun.
The mini one's fun, but the regular kamikaze, I still have 3 bags at all times in smoky gold because it is
chick magnet.
Debo, I need some more of those fancy bladed jigs, by the way.
It's the same thing. Why buy these? Because it's the same thing. That's their slogan. Yeah, this
honestly,
is a rip-off
I might switch to all Korean after this.
Respect.
I'm going all Cream.
Why fish all those? I would fish a brush hog. Why fish this? Because it's the same thing.
Dude, that's hilarious.
The creamiest.
They're over there like the most sane people in the world, and they're like screaming at everyone that like, why are you guys so stupid? They're literally screaming it, and everyone's like, yeah, I'll go pay for the Yamamoto Senko.
They're like, what are you doing?
Nah, they're like, oh my god.
They're in every fishing aisle just screaming at consumers.
Literally like, we're giving it to you for free. And they're like, yeah, I'll pay for the other one.
Just flapping Yamamoto bags out of their hands. Like, what are you?
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's hard to argue with you guys. Ramon, I give it to you right now. Right now.
It's the same thing though.
Damn, bro.
All right. I think we covered most of the brands. Any last minute shout outs for like budget brands we like? Nah, heck, I'm moving on. All right. You guys want to talk kayaks for a second? Boats, flotation vessels, things like that. There are budget options here. There are also lots of bougie options out there. And it's kind of a hot topic right now, thanks to Bonafide with their XTR. I can't tell you how many comments we got on that video. They were like, that's a boat, not a kayak. But more importantly, the funniest comments to me are, and it's funny because I know
2,800 for all of that.
Yeah, does it include the 2 screens, the 3 batteries, the 2 motors? I was like, Obviously not. What are we talking about here for $2,800? Wow, what a steal. But there are budget options. So for anybody that wants to get on the water, be stable. Now hear me out. Again, it's budget, it's value that we're talking about. So I'm not gonna be like, hey, just go buy this Sun Dolphin, right?
You can't just go get a lifetime. You're not going to be happy.
You will float temporarily. I almost sank my Sun Dolphin because you guys don't know, the Sun Dolphin weight limit is around 200 pounds. Like literally, I'm sitting in the water almost.
The angriest I've ever been on the water, and I've been very angry on the water. The angriest I've ever been is trying to paddle across a large lake in a 10-foot Sun Dolphin. And quite literally sit inside too, which is
not
insane.
tracking.
And the tracking. Like you don't know what tracking is until you've been in one of those and you realize it has none of it. And you're like, I wanted a lot more. One paddle. I'm going this way. Paddles the other side. Now I'm going this way. Paddles again. Okay, here we go. I'm going to.
That's terrible.
All righty.
I wish we had a video of that.
The chair.
I should have disassembled it. It got like
break it apart. It's human powered. It's a
that was so good. That was a good little bit you did there, Paul. The fact that you're in this chair, you really pulled that off well. I got to give you credit there.
The swivel was on fire, my friends. All right, so like let's just talk regular kayaks, paddle kayaks. What are like some good value options that are out there? I'll tell you, like share one that we talk about a lot would be Crescent. I feel like Crescent has a lot in these 600 to $1,000. Yeah, I know people are like, hey, I only want to spend 300. Buy used.
Spend $1.
Facebook Marketplace.
Me too, bro.
That was gonna be my tip. I don't think that there's a brand out there that's like, oh my gosh, this is the standalone budget kayak that does everything else does. I think the reality is like the market's relatively like close, right? And you know, you spend more to get something different, or you spend less to get something different. Like you can't compare a paddle kayak to a pedal kayak to a, you know, they're just not the same. I think the biggest tip I have, buy used. It's plastic. It is a plastic. It's not, it doesn't have a motor, you know, unless you're Jeff and Paul. It doesn't have a motor. It's a piece of plastic. It's not, you know, so it's depreciating. It doesn't depreciate. It's just plastic, you know, so buy it used.
Definitely
and you can negotiate the heck out of those too, because the interesting thing is, especially tournament folks, they'll list their kayak at like full-blown price, and you just got to hit them up and be like, hey, if I don't need your fish finder, can you take that off? And you can like just wheel and deal with them. I've gotten some pretty cheap used kayaks back in the day.
Buy it in October or November or September.
Off season.
You will always get a better price because people
someone's getting desperate
out of their garage. They want to get it out of their garage, and
their wife wants it out.
You buy. So now's your window. Start looking, folks. In fact, speaking of, if anyone wants to buy my Old Town PDL Sportsman PDL 120, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'll cut you a good deal.
Okay. Wait, are we selling kayaks right now?
Back to the show.
No, this is fine. So Ethan's selling his Sportsman 120.
Oh no, we're good. I got something to sell.
We're doing this now. We also have 2 Crescent Shoalies. Speaking of Crescent, just because we're switching it up, going with our inflatables on the river, and we're getting into some new canoe, the U10.
Yeah, if you want a Shoalie, come talk to me, Ethan.
But if you want a Shoalie, we got 2 of them available. Just DM us on Instagram. We'll give you a real good deal. And then
mine is basically brand new.
Your light tackle 2 is spoken for.
Light tackle 2 and the PDL 106 are spoken for. And then I have a Old Town Big Water that I've marked down half off of like retail price, and it's been used 4 times. In fact, all of those kayaks we just mentioned, other than the light tackle, used 4 times. And I am including a bunch of stuff on any of the kayaks that you buy. So I'm gonna give you something for sure. DMIG,
we're in Michigan, and so is Ethan. So if you want to buy anybody else, RAR,
you guys,
Ebo, you guys selling anything?
I kept mine, so it's getting sold. I'm going back to the John boat. So if
are you really?
Oh yeah, it's done now. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
okay,
I was like, it scared me, bro.
I thought the one fall sold.
Stay with us.
No.
Good.
One of us.
God. Well, yeah, one of us. All right. Before we start just like selling all our stuff,
no, we're done
I
with
want
that.
to call out, some. So there were some kayaks though. Jeff mentioned Crescent. If you go look at the Crescent lineup, if you're into paddle boats, you'll be absolutely blown away by the quality that you get. And then they are designed to be paddled. They're unbelievable. I've had 2 already, and then we've used 5 of them, and
We're
they
gonna
are
use a bunch
all
more.
very, very good. So
High
I
quality.
think, and they're all priced really well. Like when you match the specs against other similar boats, they're $500, $600, $700 cheaper at least.
Yep.
Like you're saving a boatload. I will also say we didn't list much here, but the
Dummy.
PDL, the Old Town PDL 106, I think is the pinnacle of value.
There it is.
You get an extremely stable kayak. It does rivers and also very large water very well.
Paddle.
Speed wise, it's really good. It can be paddled very easily, but the pedal is one of the best pedal drives on the market. It's the only one that floats. And it has a lot of things built into it that are very nice. So, in my humble opinion, for $2,600, brand new, and you can get these used for sure. For $2,600, I don't think you're going to get more kayak for the money. And I'll tell you right now, I have run mine with nothing on it, no accessories at all. Yeah, go for it. Any accessories at all? Like virtually none. I put electronics on it. Other than that, no other accessories, and it performs extremely well. So I would say the most flexible, the best bang for your buck is good, especially if you want the pedal, is the PDL 106. It destroys, the bona fide P127 by a landslide, even with the extra 2 feet.
Yeah, the price point is also wildly different with the P127, which still blows my mind. I was going to ask you, Jimmy.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, Jimmy's got to say his piece here. He's got to give you a warning.
We don't have any experience with Vibe, so I wanted to hear from you. Yeah.
So I've been using my 2016 Hobie kayak for a long time. It's still good. I'm loving it. It's probably the better kayaks because it's before I guess they sold the company and things going pretty crappy, right?
Peak Hobie time, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still loving it. I'm gonna ride that kayak till it dies. That's how I feel right now. Like originally, I want to sell it once I got into Vibe because last year I went to ICAST and I ran to Bixby and I was like, "Holy crap! Look at that motor! You can fly me to the moon with that thing. It looks like a rocket!" And like I said it that way, like doing my own vlog, and then the owner came out to me. He's like, "Hey, are you interested in getting a kayak and trying out motor?" I was like, "Yeah, but I don't have a new kayak." But, I'm in the market. So he walks me over to Vibe, and I didn't know anything about Vibe at that time. And there was a new kayak. It was small. And for someone like me, Asian guy, small, and also I've been in a boating accident. I have like some horrible back pain from time to time. And I was like, dude, this kayak is light, so let's give it a shot. So I finally got this kayak. And ever since I've ridden this kayak, PTSD came back from the boating accident. I have not gotten back on kayak fishing since June. And let me tell you a little bit more about this Makana 100 and why it gave me like more PTSD than ever. Okay, so first off, there's 2 drive system, which is pretty cool. You have the flipper drive system, okay, like the Hobie, or you have the bicycle style, right? So I chose to use the bicycle style, and I took it to the back base of New Jersey. So I was at Atlantic City, and I launched at the inlet of Absecon. The plan was to ride it back bay and back out. My younger brother, he has a Hobie, and he got the one last Outback model before it was sold, so it's still pretty good. Okay, so he's gonna ride that kayak till it dies too. Yeah. But anyway, this is what I have found with the impulse drive, the pedal drive system. It was super slow. It's so damn slow that I was not able to beat the wind, even though when the tide was going that inwards. My brother was like,
wow,
zooming. Okay, so that's something crazy, and they told me it's because they failed on realizing that the gear ratio of that drive system was just horrible, and they were gonna give me a new drive system, right, with the whatever it is. It's supposed to be a gearbox, and I can replace it myself. I was like, maybe not, because there's actually another issue. Okay, so their rudder system is horrible. It cannot turn on a dime. So if you're fishing with a lot of boaters, a lot of current, a lot of wind in saltwater realm, well, you better need to turn on a dime or you will fucking die. Sorry, because I almost died.
Our ratings.
Dang it. Sorry, I'm getting a little caught up.
Somebody's going to steal this video for sure, Jimmy.
Jimmy's all over the internet again.
No,
and that's how he sold Vibe to the rest of the world.
Oh my God. So this is what happened. Okay, so let me give you some more information. So as I was paddling out, right, my rudder line fell off because maybe I didn't tie it tight enough, or maybe because something is wrong with it. So it just completely stopped. So I have to paddle. and steer myself maybe like 30 minutes in order to find a safe spot because I'm in like middle of nowhere. Okay, in the back bay, there's like all these protected marsh that you cannot get on. Like it's illegal to get on there. So I finally found a place that beach. I untied everything, retied everything. I went out there and I was trying to chase my brother. Like I'm a fucking. I said it again. Oh my gosh,
Jimmy.
No. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because this is very, very like emotional to me because, like I said, this boating accident has been ruined my entire life, and I shared some of these stories with you guys like more on a personal level.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get back on a kayak. As simple as that. Okay, so I don't know even what to do with this company, but if they're watching this video, I need to say, hey, I'm gonna rip that contract up and I'm walking away. That's how I feel. So don't get the vibe of kind of 100. That's how bad it is.
That's
so
good to share. I would
like
say.
I looked at it. The money looked great and everything. The value, I thought everything was gonna be there. Everything should be great. But once I got on it, like,
just 1 minute.
Yeah,
this is terrible.
So it's 9:45 on in the evening. So my guess is that it's okay that you let a couple adult words slip. So don't beat yourself.
the kids
Most
are
people
in
have
bed.
heard it. Most people have heard those words by this point. So I'm not going to let you beat yourself up. I appreciate you sharing that because safety ultimately at the end of the day with kayak fishing is the number one thing. It should be always the number one thing, just being on the water in general. Like you can be on a 100-foot yacht, but you need to be safe. You're on water. Like, so safety first. And to your point, the smaller the watercraft, the more it should be even higher of a priority. So sharing that perspective is interesting because I think a lot of times people see kayak fishing, and if they haven't done it before, they think, look at all these people doing this. It looks like something I would enjoy. They don't always hear that side of things. It isn't something that you can just jump out there tomorrow and go on a big lake and feel like you're going to you're on top of the world and you're the king. You have to always be mindful of the fact that you can't, there's things out of your control. So I think that was really, really nice of you to share that. Despite the F-bombs, it's okay. But it is.
I'm so sorry.
It's an emotional conversation. We appreciate
it's good, dude. The pedal drive systems are not consistent across the market, sadly. And I've noticed that. I'm extremely thankful that Wilderness Systems had given me a kayak, but I have to be honest, it's their pedal drive system and their rudder control is not to the level that I'm used to. And you reminded me of that a lot when you're sharing your story about the vibe. Is if you can't turn on, quickly, that is number one, it's less efficient for fishing. Number two, it is a safety problem. Number three, you're probably going to run into someone's dock all the time, and then you're going to have someone yell at you from their dock. Like there's a lot of things that it just adds frustration on the water. So you got to have a good quality, especially when you're spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I mean, it has to work.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it has to be efficient. Yeah, the big thing on safety is control, it's stability, and then speed. Like if you're in a situation and you want to get out of said situation, you need to be able to control yourself out of there, and you need to have enough speed, power to get out of that. I've been in dangerous water situations like running dams, Paul. My Hobie, luckily stable enough. I didn't flip, but I hit a current. It spun me. It shot me into the trees on the side of a river, and we got out of it. Luckily, I banged the boat up a little bit, but yeah, it's water always wins, and boats always win. So if you can't like safely get yourself out of the way, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. And like to Ethan's point, we were talking pre-show. Pedal drives, the inconsistencies are vast. So you look at it, you're like, this is a pedal kayak. Is it like in what grade of pedal kayak is it? Like, is it a rudder pedal kayak?
The rudder makes a difference. It's like such a simple thing.
Yep.
It should be so simple. The rudder is not, it's not
to do right. Yes, it should be.
Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. At least effective enough. It should be simple enough. There should be more consistency across brands with that for sure. Because you see pedals on it, you're like, yay, pedal kayak, but the pedal drive sucks. And you're like, okay, well now I dumped $2,000, $3,000 into this thing, and it's a problem. So when you find a good one, you got to call it out. We called out the PDL from Old Town, the 106 specifically. Like it's just, we know it's consistent, it works well, and like safety wise, we think it's a good option. And that's why we would point you in that direction. All right. Should we do some slow rolling thunder? swing on out of here since the F-bombs are dropping?
Yep.
Let's get to that.
My bad.
It's all
You're
good,
good,
Jimmy.
dude. You're good.
It's all good. You think I monetize this channel? No way.
I went on Debo's channel
Not
and
this
I dropped
podcast.
one in a very casual situation for no reason. So I've been working.
You usually do. Members only, it should be parental advisory for us.
100%. Yeah.
Paul,
Just over my
I'll
face.
I'll be like, what the F? And I'll censor myself. And then he'll say, no, it's
No,
pronounced.
it's pronounced.
He'll say the word for me. Thanks, buddy. All right. So we got a couple of fun questions rolling out of here, you guys. And real quick, shout out to Debo, Ethan, Jimmy, everybody hopping on here. Definitely go follow their channels, you guys. So Debo's Fishing, Fish Anything, and RAR Fishing. Go check them out if you're not already following them. I feel like we hang out a lot. So like our audience is your audience and vice versa. So I'm sure you guys know these guys, but I appreciate you guys for hopping on short notice with the whole emergency situation. So this ended up being like a really fun group night. I like it. All right. First, slow rolling thunder question. Just threw some fun ones together here, but fancy gear on a cheap boat, right? So you have like the most expensive combos, the Yamamoto worms. You're on the cheapest possible boat.
Yamamoto.
The Yamamotos specifically. All the JDM
Right,
products for
Yamamoto.
Jimmy, but you're on $100 pond paddle boat, like with the 2 pedal systems in it.
Pretty
That's
sure
all
I
you
know
get.
Jimmy's answer.
Or you get the best possible boat and only all of the cheapest, everything from Temu. All your gear is from Temu. Okay. Which option are you rolling with? We'll go Debo first.
Oh, I'm rocking my 12-foot John boat with all the fancy gear and Yamamoto worms. Let's go. Turn that trolling motor on. Let's do it.
That my first John boat was $1. I bought it off of my great uncle. So he was like,
For tax
here you
purposes,
go.
he sold
You have
you
to
for
pay
$1.
You have to pay $1 for tax purposes. So I got my first one for $1. So I'm kind of leaning with you, but I want to hear everybody's answer. I like it. Ethan, what you got?
I'm gonna go with the same. I'd rather have the fancy equipment on a simple boat.
Love it. Jimmy?
Same thing, but simple boat gotta be safety. Like you gotta have all the safety stuff there. If not, give me the Temu stuff.
give me the Temu best
That's
possible
fair.
boat. I like it. It makes sense. I like it, man. All right, Paul.
I just want to be contrary, but I won't. I think that I would do the same answer.
Which is the cheap boat, expensive gear?
Yeah, man. Like, if we're assuming that it floats. So if it floats,
It most likely floats, maybe.
I'll have fun. I'll be fine. Yeah. Catch a fish.
I'll be fine. All right. I'm with you. I think that is the situation. I go cheap boat. John boat specifically is like, that's going to be the way to go. You can get them super inexpensive and it'll be fine. It floats. I'm using all the fancy gear. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Good stuff. All right. Next/last slow rolling question. We'll roll out of here. Oh, you're cheating. You're looking at the notes. All right. So what is the most annoying thing? Annoying. Now, I'm not suggesting life-threatening. I'm just saying annoying, right? A subtle annoyance the whole day. What is the most annoying thing that can happen while fishing? Grinds your gears. Debo, you go.
I'll give you a couple
don't know.
examples. So when it's raining outside, but it's extremely muggy and you're already out. Dude, I don't know,
Your
like
sunglasses
glasses
fog
are
up.
fogging up, the camera's fogging up, you're a freaking mess. You don't know how to dress because, like, inclement weather, you're not dressed for it. The mosquitoes are out. Like, dude, it sucks.
Mosquitoes, dude.
And like, if you're
Mosquitoes,
anywhere
that's
near
what I
the
was
gonna
shore,
say
it's
with
going to be a friggin' disaster. So I think that's
Mosquitoes
worse
and
than
that.
just rain, man. Yeah, bugs will definitely screw
Black
you.
flies.
Here's a
Black flies. are
deer flies.
awful.
They just
Deer
go for the
flies,
head.
yeah.
They just want the head. That's
Ticks,
it.
if you're a bank angler.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. That's
Ticks
just
are
something I worry
crazy.
about.
Hate them.
Now, how
Bugs.
about here's one. This one
Here's
pisses you right off. You're
I got
fishing
one
with
for you.
somebody.
Hear
You're
me
fishing with
out.
somebody named Jeff Burlingame, and then you're like,
Okay.
no, that's just anybody, right?
What?
And you're fishing, and the other person is just whacking them. They're stacking them up. They're just absolutely shredding them to death. And then you're like,
Yeah.
you're not even fishing. You're fishing so poorly because you're just retying and
It
and
sucks
untying and
so bad.
like getting tangled and not
Yeah.
catching. That will send
And
you.
then the
into
cherry
another-
on top is they're like, oh, I know you're not catching over there, but
Use this.
hold on. I've got another one just like it if you want to use this. You're like, Then you just
You
pull a
say
Jimmy and
no.
you start throwing F-bombs.
I got my baits on Tengu, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's the
What-
same thing.
What is
I'm
the
not throwing one.
answer?
It's the same thing.
It's the
damn it,
same
I'm not catching them.
So you're wearing a cream jersey when this is happening?
Yeah.
1000%.
Dude,
Oh,
the funniest
man.
thing about that is, yeah, that's the answer. It's always like they're smashing them, and they're like, "Yo, just throw this," and you're
I've
like,
got an extra one. Throw this
I will
one.
not. I will not."
Yeah, you just get stubborn
That's the
and dug
funniest
in, and
thing.
you turn it. Then you just that is got to be it. That's
No,
pinnacle.
worse-
That's peak,
That's
baby.
high up
Worse
there.
than that is you say, "Okay." Like I'm throwing a Ned
Yeah.
rig in a specific color, and you're like, "Sure, I'll take
And you
one."
still
And then you
can't.
take it, you still don't catch anything, and then the pattern changes, and they're on the next thing. They're like, they got the magic touch for that day.
Guaranteed
That
to
is
happen.
that kills.
When
me.
the other person is blessed and you are
Yeah.
not, oh my god.
That's what we call it. Like one person's killing it. We're like, well, Paul's blessed today, or Jeff's blessed today. Like, and you're over here just like twiddling your thumbs trying to get a video going.
We'll
That-
just tie this crappy knot, and then this won't work. Like, yeah, man.
That sucks. Jimmy, what's one from you? Super annoying thing.
Mic testing. You guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
You guys
I
hear me?
thought he was
Yeah.
gonna say Paul Glass specifically. Most annoying thing in fishing.
Yes.
So the most annoying thing I think for me is in the summer, morning dew. Like
Mm.
if it's raining out there, already we be wearing like some sort of shoes that's waterproof. But like if it's a summer day, I wouldn't wear water shoes.
Everything's
like water
wet.
resistant shoes. I'll just take my favorite shoes. I'll walk out there. Once you get out there, like a couple steps, your whole shoe is soaked. Your socks
Yep.
is soaked, and within 2 hours, like you don't want to fish anymore because your feet is wet.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
Most
get
annoying.
some rubbers and keep in the car.
Gotta get those dock
Boots,
Point of
yeah,
order.
rubber
Yes.
boots.
Boots.
Point of order. That's not what you need.
boots. Rubbers for your dangers.
Sorry. I am sorry. The dinger. I gotta stop.
Wait,
with the dinger.
What size dinger are we talking about? 'Cause
I
they
wish
got a
I had
4,
a
a 5, and
drone.
a 6.
I only have the 4. Yeah.
They have a Magnum dinger yet? I don't
Okay.
know. All right,
Sorry.
Ethan, what's
Okay, so
Stop
I
talking
think
about your
the
fingers.
bugs. I think the bugs is probably like the best answer. However, the other
Yeah.
answer that it came to mind for me is just annoying pleasure boaters.
oh,
Just
yes.
like guys, like usually it's about a 53-year-old man, and I'm not judging
Roughly.
53-year-old men, but it's weird that like it's like a 53-year-old man wearing jeans on a jet ski with no shirt, and he just rips back and
He
forth
just
and
rip,
back
rip,
and
rip.
forth. And I'm
You
like,
blame
bro,
that guy?
you are 53. Is this like what you are living for right now? Like this is like,
Yes.
have you hit your midlife crisis?
Yes.
Why are you throwing wakes at my kayak every 5 seconds? Is it
That's so
necessary?
fun.
And then I
At
get
least he
thrown
didn't
off.
front wake you.
And
Yeah.
again, it's always
Just
the
submerge
middle-aged, it's the middle-aged guy that just got his jet ski and is just so addicted to it that he just goes back and forth and just terrorizes me.
2024
I love that
CD.
guy.
I'm gonna
I mean,
be that guy.
Part of me wants to be that guy. If
I know,
like
like,
him
they're all
with no
like,
shirt, like that's a look.
On a different day when I'm not trying to fish, we are buds. Today,
A couple of Budweisers. Yeah.
Mm. Dude, yeah, I'm with you on that. I like alliteration. I name them all. So we have
Oh, yeah.
Pontoon Polly. We
Yep.
got Jet Ski Jimmy. No offense, Jimmy. And then we got Wakeboard Willie. Honestly, Wakeboard Willie is my least favorite person
Yeah, I would
because
agree with
those
that.
wakeboard
Oh,
boats.
dude, wake surfers. Oh,
Yes.
They're
ripping
kayakers are pretty awful
everywhere.
too. Bank fishing, old kayak Carl. That used to be my alliteration.
Yeah.
Kayak Carl gives no shit.
Rolls up in your spot.
I do. I
casting just-
disagree because every time I see someone on the bank, I'll point it out to Jeff and be like, "Hey,
Well,
you know, back them out."
we
What's going on?"
That's
will.
because you fish.
dodge
Yeah,
them.
that's because
Yeah.
you.
But I
But, like-
the wake surfing things where they they're shooting like this wave that's like 100 feet
Yep.
high. That thing, it literally like silts in lakes on some
Yeah. Yep.
places because there's
Yep.
so much wave. And
Yeah.
like in
Yep.
like in the Midwest, like it'll like silt in a lake. It's causing
Mm-hmm.
so much. So what does that do to a kayak guy? Man, it is annoying. It's annoying.
Oh, we
The-
were on a lake the other day, a couple weeks ago, Paul, and there was 2 boats that were wakeboarding, learning wakeboarding. So they kept like falling off, right? And I could not get away from them. Like
They
we
would
were in
not
the-
leave. It was very weird that they
We're
kept
chasing
being right
trapped.
next to us, the very big lake. We're kind of in the like on the
We're in the
like,
middle of nowhere.
kind of in the middle, and they had no reason to be there. And I was like, you didn't have to.
They
like,
were
you
just
could literally
going
be
around
anywhere
us.
else. Why?
They were trying to impress you.
They
didn't
weren't
work.
because the guy kept
It was
falling.
very embarrassing for them.
He could not get on the board.
You
Maybe
and
they were
They-
hoping you
people were
guys
getting
had
mad.
already had your midlife crisis that could help them. Be like,
Right?
hey, we're new to this. You guys, any help?
Have you guys ever thought about fishing instead of what you're doing right now?
Dude, I might be
therapeutic.
give it a year or
Yeah.
two. I'll probably be wakeboarding behind Jeff's
Yeah.
boat because he's got so many dang motors on the thing.
That
Like,
NK
I'll just be
300
back
baby, and
there
3 big
casting an
speeds.
ultralight.
I'm gonna run my XI3 3 big speeds on the Skegs, and then I'm gonna have an NK 300. Let's go. When the NT 600
Have it up
drops
on plane.
we will be on plane. We will be hitting jumps. All right. Okay, so I think we covered a lot of annoying things. We had a lot of fun tonight. Hopefully you guys did as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and shout out to my boys for hopping on short notice. We appreciate you guys more than you know, and we'll be back next week. I think we have a guest next week again, Paul, right? Bring
Yep.
on Brennan Brown.
Brennan Brown.
We're gonna trash-
rate. I think we're gonna
some
rate
baits.
some baits. Very
We're
excited
gonna
about
rate some baits.
rate some baits. He's not gonna
All
know
right.
what he's walking into. I'm gonna pick all the big ones, and we're gonna give our rating what we think it would be, and he's gonna just be like,
Nah,
"You're
dog.
idiots.
You're dumb."
Stop it."
Which is casual and true. All right. So we'll be back again next week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. All right. Chaz, take us out.